Okay. So hello all. Uh,
We are going to have a class on sensors and actuators. We are going to have a class on sensors and actuators. So these, what is this sensors and actuators? Sensors and actuators are nothing but what? Let's say these are part of embedded systems. These are nothing but what? Part of embedded systems. Correct? So what do you mean by embedded systems? Without this, the embedded system is not at all performed, or embedded operations are not at all performed on this embedded system, right? So what do you mean by sensors? Sensors and actuators. Normally, sensors and actuators are the one which will act. A sensor is a one which will act as an input, which will act as an input for what? For an processor. So after taking the input from the processor, from a sensor, what it does, it is going to feed it to where? It is going to feed it to actuators. It is going to feed it to where? It is going to feed it to actuators. So now what does this actuator, what does it will do? It will take the input from a sensor through processor, and then it is going to give it to where? It is going to give it to actuator. Now as I told you, this actuator is nothing but a mechanical component. This actuator is nothing but what? It's a mechanical component. So it can be either a DC motor. Okay, it can be either a DC motor, or else it can be a stepper motor or anything. So these are nothing but these will form an actuators. These will form an actuators. But the sensors can be anything. Okay, they can be either temperature sensor or pressure sensor. There are many sensors are available. Even there are range sensors are also available. So what does these sensors will do? These sensors will convert a physical quantity into an measurable quantity, a physical quantity into a measurable quantity. So that's why they have been called as a transducers also. That's why they will be calling it as a transducer also. That converts, what do you mean by transducer? Transducer is the one that converts energy from one form to any one form to another form. Okay, another for any measurement or control purpose. That means the energy which is there as a physical phenomenon gets converted into what? Gets converted into measurable quantity. Gets converted into measurable quantity. So for example, the sensor which measures the distance between the cushion and the magnet in the smart running shoe is a magnetic hall effect sensor. Okay, like this, even we are having a temperature sensor also. What does the temperature sensor will do? It will convert the temperature, the surrounding temperature into measurable quantity in terms of what? In terms of voltage. In terms of voltage. So it will be at the input of a sensor will be temperature, and the output of a sensor is voltage. So that voltage will be given to where? That voltage will be given to a processor, so that the processor will decide on the facts. Correct? So this is what is mean by sensor. Then we are having one more part called as actuator. What is actuator? Actuator is a form of transducer device, okay, which can be mechanical or electrical, which converts the signals to corresponding physical action, right? So what is a sensor? Sensor is nothing but what? Physical into measurable quantity, and actuator measurable, okay, that one which can be measured, can be actuator is one with the measurable quantity into a physical action. So normally this actuator, whatever is there, which will act as an output device. It will act as an output device. Then we are having one more component called as LED, which is nothing. What do you mean by LED? Light emitting diodes. Are nothing but what? LEDs. The light emitting diode is an important output device for visual indication, right? So normally the lights are used for indication. So LEDs are used for visual indication purpose in any embedded system. LED can be used as an indicator for the status of various signals. Okay, so that means whether it is on or off and all. So for such a operation, we are going to use LED. The typical examples are indicating the presence of power conditions, device on, battery low, then charging of battery. Okay, and then which are used normally for handheld embedded devices. Okay, so very all you see a small light, and that light corresponds to what? LED. Then we are having a 7-segment LED display. 7-segment LED display. The 7-segment LED display is an output device for displaying alphanumeric characters, right? See, normally you can see in the picture that this is a 7-segment display which is used to display the alphanumeric characters. What do you mean by alphanumeric? That means I can display alphabets from A to Z, from A to Z alpha, and then numeric. I can write the numbers from 0 to 9. From 0 to 9, I can write the numbers from 0 to 9. So 7 segment display units are used for alphanumeric characters. That means they are used for displaying the alphanumeric characters. It contains 8 LED segments arranged in a special form. Out of the 8 LED, okay, 7 are used for displaying, okay, and 1 whatever is used for decimal point, okay. So that means these 8 LEDs will be there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 LEDs. This the small dot whatever is there, it's a one more LED which is used for a decimal point, which is used to show it as a decimal point, okay. The 7 segment LED display is a popular choice for low cost embedded applications like public telephone call monitoring system, IO interface devices, point of sales, etc. So there are two types of 7 segment LEDs. One is anode type and second one is cathode type. Here you can see in the anode type, what is the point? The point is that all the anodes, okay, what they will be done, they will be connected, and then what they will be done, they will be given to ground. That's what is called as common anode. That means anode is grounded. And then the cathode, whatever is there, that is used for displaying. The cathode, whatever we use, that is used for displaying. I hope in the digital system design, we have done the design for the 7 segment LED. So there we have even discussed about the common anode and common cathode mode, where if the common anode mean what, the anode is connected to ground, and if the common cathode mean the cathode is connected to ground, whereas the anode is used for connection. Anode is used for connection, correct? Anode is used for connection. Then the next instrument that we are going to use is an optocoupler. So what is an optocoupler? Optocoupler is a solid state device used to isolate two parts of a circuit. Okay, solid state device which is used to isolate the two parts of circuit, right? The very good example which has been shown over here, this is an IO interface. Okay, so here you are having an LED and there is a phototransistor over here. What do you mean by phototransistor? A transistor which gets activated when the light falls on it. So whenever the current flows over here, what will happen? The LED glows, okay, and when the light generated falls on the transistor, now this transistor starts operating. So this overall concept is nothing but a optocoupler. Okay, optocoupler. What is the use of optocoupler? The use is that it is used to prevent the free flow back of the current. Okay, free flow back of the current. That means the current should not have to flow from output to input device. That's what is optocoupler is used, right? If the current flows from output to input device, what will happen? The input gets destroyed. The only current should flow from input to output, right? So that's what is nothing but optocoupler. So optocouplers are used for normally for isolation. Optocoupler combines an LED and a phototransistor in a single housing, right? So it has been illustrated in a figure, okay, the shown figure. Now over here you can find out that a circuit which uses a phototransistor. Okay, now what is that? The input has been given. Okay, there is an optocoupler over here. So this optocoupler, what does it will do? It will generate a light using LED. Now the current will falls on the transistor, and now this transistor starts operating, right? And through this transistor, the microcontroller will get an input. So next what will happen, if the microcontroller wants to give an output, again an optocoupler is being used. Okay, so here what will happen, if the current flows through this LED gets converted, and whenever this is operating, this port pin is operating of a microcontroller, now the current starts flowing through this. Okay, when the current starts flowing through this, the LED starts glowing. This LED light will fall where? It will fall on the phototransistor. Now the phototransistor starts operating. Like this, what is the point? The point is that isolation is getting provided for a microcontroller from the input as well as from the output. Okay, so that's what mean the optocouplers are getting used. The next point is that reset circuit. Okay, see, reset circuits are being used in every microcontroller or microprocessor. Why they have been used? It is just to avoid if the system has got hanged up. Okay, so the reset signal brings the internal resistors and the different hardware systems of the processor or a controller to a known state, and starts the firmware execution from the reset vector, right? Reset vector is normally what? It's a starting address of a memory. So that means what? If the processor is execution at some point, whenever the reset button is pressed, the system is halted, and again the program counter will start from the beginning of the address, right? So in this we are having, the diagram has been shown over here. So what is the point? The point is that in this diagram there is a reset capacitor is there, and the passive reset circuit for active, high and low configurations have been there, right? So now what is that? Okay, so whenever the system is made on, so there is a capacitor. So what does this capacitor will charge, and then it will give a pulse, right? Then it will give a pulse. Now the current will flow into two directions like this, and the one more is like this. Okay, if the grounding is there properly, then what will happen? The current flows over here, and then the reset circuit will work. Similarly over here, okay, similarly if the reset button is pressed, whatever the current is there will move towards this, and the system gets reset. Then we are having RTC, which is nothing but what? Real-time clock. RTC is a system component responsible for keeping track of time. Okay, so normally you might have seen that there is a timer in all the computer systems and all, because there is a timer unit will be there. RTC is intended to function even in the absence of a power module. Okay, power, even if it is not there, then we can use, right? So here in the example, in the figure, you can see that. Okay. So there is a microcontroller in it, and then there is a oscillator in it. To this oscillator unit you have been connected what? Crystal. Okay, so this is what is in microcontroller. Okay, in microprocessor, again you are having a crystal unit which should be connected externally, so which will give the clock input. By like this you can keep the timer of a microcontroller and microprocessor constant. Then the next one is you are having a watchdog timer. A watchdog timer, WDT, is a hardware timer for monitoring the firmware execution, right? So there is a timer which can see through the execution process of a firmware. Depending on the internal implementation, the WDT increments or decrements the free running counter with each clock pulse and generates a reset signal to the reset processor. Okay, if the count reaches 0, for a down counting, okay, or the highest count value for an up counting, right? So it means what? It keeps a timer, okay, it keeps timing with the help of what? With the help of a free running counter, right? So whenever that counter ends, so it will generate a reset signal. It generates a reset signal so as to reset the processor. Okay, similarly, okay, whenever the count reaches 0 or maximum, it will generate a reset pulse. Okay, so here you can see that in microprocessor, okay, there is a watchdog timer. So this is the one which is going to generate a reset pin. Okay, and then whenever the process starts, the microprocessor will give a signal. That is nothing but an acknowledgement signal telling that the counter has to run. As soon as the counter runs, okay, whenever it ends, it will give again processor a reset pin so that the processor gets reset again, right? Right. So these are the components or devices that are getting used, that will be used with the processor. Okay, so thank you.